Hello guys, this is Fariba from watchknitting.com. Today here I will be showing how to make an scroll lace stitch. The pattern is made in multiple of 10 stitches plus 2 stitches for each, and also it's in 18 row repeat. The first half of the rows, which are row 1 to row 9, we're gonna make the pattern, and from row 10 to row 18 we're gonna offset the previous pattern and we get these scrolls. Each repeat in all rows will have, in the odd rows and going rows, we're gonna have 8 knit stitches plus 1 yarn over and 2 stitches that will be knit two together for the first half of the rows, means from row 1 to row 9. And for the second half of the rows, when we are offsetting, we're gonna have 8 knit stitches plus 1 yarn over, and then we're gonna have a slip knit stitch. For the return rows, we're gonna have 8 purl stitches in each row, in each repeat, and then 1 yarn over and 2 stitches that will be purled together. For the second half of the rows, we're gonna have again 8 purl stitches, 1 yarn over, and 2 stitches that will be slip purl stitch. These are kind of the same doing as purl two together. Here for my sample I have cast on 22 stitches and I worked one row with knit 1 purl 1 rib stitch just to have better edge without curling edge. And also for edge stitches, I always do the slip stitch at the beginning for edge stitch. For the end one, for the end edge stitch, I do knit stitch if I'm in odd row. For the return rows, I will do purl stitch. Okay, I got my edge stitch, and the repeat for row 1 will be yarn over and then knit 8 stitches. And then do knit 2 together. This is the repeat for row 1. In the return row, we're gonna slip the first stitch, edge stitch, and what will be easier to remember, you're gonna have purl 2 together at the beginning of repeat for all purl rows, for all return rows until the row 9, means your row 10 will be different. So it's easier to remember that at the beginning of the row you're gonna have 1 purl 2 together. This is part of your repeat. And then you're gonna purl your stitches until you got to the yarn over that you had from previous row. I'm gonna go further and purl my stitches in this row, which is row 2. After I purl 2 together, 2 stitches, I purl 7 stitches and I got to my yarn over from previous row. So here I got to my yarn over from previous row. In the return rows until the mid of the pattern, means until row 10 and before row 10, whenever you got to your yarn over in the return row, you're gonna make another yarn over and then purl the yarn over from previous row. So this is the repeat for row 2, purl 2 together, purl 7 stitches, yarn over, purl 1. Still you see that I have 7 purl stitches here and 1 at the end, and my total of purl stitches for the repeat will be 8. Okay, now I'm in row 3, and row 3 I slip my edge stitch. In row 3 and all the odd rows after row 1, what you're gonna do, you're gonna start knitting stitches until you get the yarn over from the previous row, which here I have 2 knit stitches, one knit stitch before my yarn over here, from previous row. However, here in the going rows or in the odd rows until the row 10, until the mid of the pattern, we're gonna knit our yarn over first and then make yarn over. It's just opposite of what we did in row 2 in the previous row. So I knit 2 stitches, do 1 yarn over, and then I will have 6 more knit stitches, and then I will have my knit 2 together. If you see the line is showing here, I'm gonna continue doing my knit 2 together here, and this is the end of my repeat for row 3. Now I'm in row 4 again. I will be doing the same thing. I'm gonna have 1 purl 2 together at the beginning of the repeat because I'm in the return row. Then I will have couple of purl stitches until I get to my yarn over from the previous row, which here I need to purl 5 stitches before getting to yarn over, and then I got to my yarn over. I'm gonna do my yarn over before that and then purl 3 more stitches to finish the repeat. So now I'm at row 5. I'm gonna slip my edge stitch. I'm gonna start knitting stitches, and this is my edge my yarn over. So I'm gonna knit this one first and then make another yarn over. If I count my stitches before yarn over, is 4 stitches that are knit, and now I'm gonna knit 4 more stitches, and then make knit 2 together. Even if you don't count your stitches, you will see this line showing here, and you will figure out what time you need to finish the repeat and do your knit 2 together. Now I'm in row 6. Again, still I have 2 stitches purl 2 together at the beginning of the repeat. Then I will purl some stitches until I get to my yarn over, which is 3 purl stitches. Then I got to my yarn over. I'm gonna do my yarn over and then purl the yarn over from previous row, and after my yarn over there will be 5 more stitches to be purled before getting to purl 2 together. Now I'm in row 7. I will knit 6 stitches including my yarn over from previous row. 1 2 3 4 5 6 stitches. Then I will do yarn over and knit 2 more stitches and then make knit 2 together. This is the repeat for row 7. Row 8, still have 1 purl 2 together at the beginning of the repeat. Then purl 1 stitch. You got to your yarn over, make yarn over, and then you have to have 7 purl stitches after your yarn over to finish the repeat. Now we are working in row 9, which is our last row of knit 2 together row. I will be doing 8 knit stitch at the beginning of the row, and then I will have 1 yarn over and then my knit 2 together. As I mentioned before, this is the time that you do your yarn over just beside your knit two together, and it means from the next row you're gonna offset your pattern. Now I'm in row 10, and from row 10 I will be doing offsetting for the previous pattern. What would be the offsetting? As I mentioned, you need to remember this row. So this row is very similar to row 1. You're gonna make yarn over, and this time instead of doing knit 8 stitches, you're gonna do purl 8 stitches. Count your stitches to make sure it's correct, because that will be the baseline for the rest of the pattern. So when you did 1 yarn over and then purled 8 stitches, you're gonna have a slip purl stitch. And how you do your slip purl stitch? You're gonna do slip purl stitch by transferring 2 of the stitches to right needle, one at a time, slipping knitwise. So I slip them to my right needle, then I will return them back to my left needle, and I will go back and put tip of my right needle from the second stitch here. I'm gonna insert it, and inserting 2 of the stitches, and then bring it to your right needle. So it's kind of twisting your stitches. Then put them back to your left needle, and now you're gonna purl them as normal purl stitches. This is called slip purl stitch, or SSP. So this row was the baseline for the offsetting rows. From this row we're gonna change our rows a little bit. So if you remember, we had purl 2 together at the beginning of return rows in the first half of the rows. In the second half of the repeat, we're gonna have knit 2 together, or this time it will be SSK, or slip knit stitch at the beginning of the repeat for this second half of the rows. Here I'm gonna do slip knit stitch. For that you need to transfer 2 stitches to your right needle and slip them one at a time knitwise. Then return them back to your left needle, and then you're gonna knit them through back loop. This will be your slip knit stitch. After this, you're gonna knit your stitches until you get to your yarn over, which here will be 7 stitches to be knit. I got to my yarn over. Opposite the this first part of the rows that we had to knit our yarn over and then make our yarn over, this time we will be doing the same we did in the purl part of the first part. We're gonna make our yarn over first and then knit 1 stitch. Now in row 12, I'm gonna slip my stitch. So this time, like we had for the going rows in first part, this time we're gonna purl stitches until we get to yarn over. Here is my yarn over. So what I'll do, I will purl my yarn over first and then make another yarn over, and then purl your stitches, which here will be 6 after your yarn over. until you get to your SSP. So as I mentioned before, you offset what you did in previous rows in the first part. 13. As I mentioned before, we have SSK at the beginning of repeat. Then knit some stitches until you get to yarn over from previous row, which here would be 5 stitches after your SSK. 1 2 3 4 5. You're gonna make yarn over and then 3 more knit stitches to finish the repeat. Row 14, we're gonna purl stitches until we get to yarn over. I got to my yarn over, I'm gonna purl it. So in total I did 4 purl stitches. I do 1 yarn over and purl 4 more stitches. And now I will be doing my SSP. Row 15, SSK at the beginning. Then repeat SSK and then knit 3 stitches and then yarn over and knit 5 stitches. Row 16, start with purling stitches until you get to yarn over. Yarn over and purl 2 more stitches before our SSP, and then also you can check it back from here if you don't want to cut your stitches. Now I'm in row 17, last row of SSK row. My repeat starts with SSK, knit 1. I already got to my yarn over. I will yarn over and knit 7 stitches to finish the repeat. Okay, now we got to row 18, which is my last row of the repeat and also last row of the SSP row. Here I'm gonna purl 8 stitches to get to my yarn over. Sorry, to finish purling my yarn over. That will include my yarn over, purling my yarn over from the previous row. This is the one, this is my 8. And then here I'm gonna do my yarn over and then it's time to make SSP. I hope you guys enjoy my tutorial. If you have any question regarding this tutorial or other tutorials, let me know. I will be very glad to help you guys on that.